Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Depending on where you're joining from. Can you hear me, please? Can anyone hear me? Hello. Please, can you unmute her?
Yes, we can hear you.
I see. Okay, I see thumbs up. Yeah, thank you. Right. You're all welcome. It's 5:02 now. And we had about over 200 people, just show my face for now. Over 200 people registered, but I'm surprised we have just 11 people. But we just start while we're waiting for others. Or we'll just give them another 2 minutes. Let's give them another 2 to 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay. Hello. Okay, we have 12 people on call now. I think we should just start. Over 200 people registered. I hope they will join us as we go along. Okay, because we have the first speaker already here. Okay, first, I'd like to introduce, we're doing this awareness. It's actually, we're creating awareness. Can you all hear me? Please, can I have thumbs up if you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am.
Good, thank you, thank you. Yeah, okay, this is, we're creating awareness for you all to get your certifications, like have Microsoft certification. Yeah, that's what we're really creating awareness for. And we have like 4 courses we're going to introduce you to. First, we'll have the cybersecurity. We have the cybersecurity course. And we also have data analysis. We have AI, and we have Azure as cloud computing. So the first, we're doing this Chesca Global Solutions Limited is partnering with Getbundi to have this masterclass session. Yeah, it's really to, like I said, to create awareness for this ICT certification. Okay. All right. Thank you, Achebe. Yeah, see you clapping for us. Yeah. Okay. So my name is Franca Ibuzo, and CEO Chesca Global Solutions. And we're partnering with Getbundi to create this awareness. And the representative of Getbundi is Judith. Judith, are you here? Judith, are you on call?
Yes,
okay, she came in.
Yeah.
Okay. I see you now. Yeah. All right. Okay, she's representing Getbundi. And some of you, I know most of you are alumni of Getbundi, must have taken some ICT courses. Okay, without so much ado, I'll like to introduce the first speaker. Call her LA. She's Lola Adeyemi. Okay, please, LA, could you take it away?
Thank you very much, Madam. Good morning, afternoon, evening to everyone, wherever you may be. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you cybersecurity, and I'm sure we're going to have a good time with questions and answers and what have you. So permit me to share my screen. Sorry. Okay, here we are. Please, can you please let me know if you can see my screen?
Yes, you can see your screen.
All right, great. So I'm not going to take much of our time, but I'd appreciate if you can mute if you're not speaking so that we don't get distracted. I can hear some feedback. And please put down all your questions and I'll be super excited to answer as much as I can. And I'm sure Madam Franca would also assist in any way possible. So today we'll be looking at, I call it the A to Z of cybersecurity, just an overview. So you decide if this is the pathway you want to go. And for those of you that are already in this pathway, you also decide the different domain you like to be in. I always refer tech to medicine. In medicine, you have the surgeon, the optician, and all of that. Same thing with tech as well. Even as a surgeon in the medical field, there are different aspects. So you have the neurologist, you have the one that is in charge of the pancreas, the one that is in charge of what's it called, plastic surgery and all of that. So just the same way it is in tech. And I know a lot of you are very familiar with what I'm talking about, but I just thought it would be nice to, talk about that before we go on. So here, again, permit me to take this as, like I said earlier, A to Z. So even if you've had prior knowledge of cybersecurity, just assume that you're getting it fresh, remove, or rather keep what you have in one bucket somewhere in the brain and try and open up, and I'm sure you get one or two things by the end of this session. So again, for those of us that have heard a lot about cybersecurity and, maybe in passing, or maybe you're actually a security analyst, you know that we're talking about data. We're talking about your information. We're talking about your assets, right? And we're talking about, as it pertains to corporates, we're talking about maybe your systems, your infrastructure, your network, and all of that, right? So cybersecurity basically is protecting those items I've mentioned from cyber threats, from the bad boys, from, the guys that all they want to do is just get hold of your information or your environment and, get put you in ransom so that they can get whatever they want to get in return for it, right? And there's been an increasing number of attacks all over, and of course it has increased because of AI. As much as there's a good side of AI, they're also using AI to enhance how they can attack and penetrate into whatever environments they can. Please, again, I would like to say mute if you are not speaking. Can the host please mute them? Thank you. So, it's increasing in businesses, even as individuals. You see people send you a video and, using AI, and it's exactly like you've had cases of people send videos to parents to say, oh, look at your child, your child would actually be speaking, and the child, that you've held your child and you need to pay ransom and all of that. And you be amazed that is not even your child. So they use the increase is incredible, right? So we need to safeguard these assets, and an effective way to ensure that you safeguard it is, to have what we call the CIA of information security, which is the confidentiality, integrity, and availability, right? So your data, your information, there has to be confidentiality. It's not everything that you push out there. There has to be integrity. What you're pushing out there has to be the truth, right? And it has to be available when it's needed. So that's basically what we're talking about when we talk about cybersecurity, information security. And this will help to minimize the risk, of you getting attacked and also being vulnerable. Now, you say, oh, cybersecurity is mostly for corporations. It's mostly, can you mute?
Please
Madam
mute
Frank, can
yourself.
the host mute them? Thank you. All right. So you'll probably say that cybersecurity is mostly for companies to, what do they have to steal from me? What do I have? Who am I? And all of that, even if you're in quotes, let me use the word and I apologize. Nobody, like you feel, oh, I'm just a thousandaire, what do I have? Nobody knows me and all of that. Just you can still be a target, right? So it's not only about large organizations, it's about individual organizations, whoever name it, right? So for what do they do with with individuals. They want your personal identity. So they want to steal your information that you have out there and use it to attack someone else, right? They want to use your credentials, like mine. They will say, oh, they'll use LA and maybe want to send a chat to maybe Madam Franca, and because she knows LA, she would assume that that's the real LA that is chatting with her or requesting for fund or anything, but that attacker has stolen my identity. And maybe I'm her house help, or maybe I'm just her PA. So she will that identity has been stolen and will be used to commit fraud. And of course, maybe I just have maybe 1 million or 1.5 million in my account. They would use that stolen identity or attack when they attack me to defraud what I have, right? So basically, it's like a privacy invasion. They come into my space and take what is they take what they want to take and use it for their own malicious intent. Now, for professionals, they look at the company's data, and you probably wonder, okay, yeah, they take the company's data, so what? So what they do, right? I'm going to give you an example of one of the clients that I'd worked with, that they stole the data. It's a financial institution, this sector. They stole the data, and the guy, one young guy in somewhere in Europe, stole the data, a teenager, as a matter of fact. And after stealing the data, the guy requested for millions of dollars. And when the company refused, now published on the website that, look, this site has been hacked. I've taken charge of this company and all your data and all. You can imagine customers seeing that. First thing they will do is to go to that bank and withdraw all their money, or the news will spread and all of that. So they do a lot with data. It's not like they will go in there and steal your money from your bank account and everything. No, they attack the organization and take charge. There are various ways they do that. Man in the middle, brute force, that so many ways, but just know that basically that as an organization, they are out there for your data. And if you look at the societal aspect of it, they look at things like critical infrastructure. So, Nigeria is very big on, oh, we don't want, if you are a regulated entity, your data must be within, your cloud must be within and all of that. So they try to attack infrastructures like maybe even the telcos, hospitals, government places. You see that, oh, maybe if you recall when US was doing I think some election, I think it was I can't remember now, and they said, oh, that the what's it called, the results, I think it was Hillary, right, that someone hacked into an email, sent an email and all of that stuff. So they do a lot around that as well. And you probably wonder, what are they doing in healthcare? Earlier I can see healthcare here. Yeah, because before you go to hospital is one place where you give them all your information, because they need to know what's going on. So you go to a hospital, they'll ask you for everything you can ever possibly imagine about yourself. And they would also ask about your next of kin. They'll ask about, so they have that information with them, and they can do whatever they want with that information. You can imagine someone that went to a hospital, maybe for malaria or something, and the hospital got hacked, and the hacker now decides that, oh, okay, this person is let me use a fictitious word, bangode, and and they decide that, oh, this guy, yeah, is one of the richest, men in Nigeria. Let's attack him. And they now decide to say, oh, this is your medical report. They will send it from the hospital because they've hijacked the hospital system. Remember, they will send it from the hospital's email to the person to say, oh, we realize that you have cancer or HIV and all of that, but there's this drug that you can use to, just something stupid and malicious like that. and that's how they do for the hospital. So I mean, I came up with a couple of information from my research just to let you know how critical it is to be knowledgeable about cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is not an IT thing, it's everybody's business, and it's not an organization thing, it's both for individual and organizations, right? And when I mean organization, government, private, public, name it. Now, so I saw the estimated global cyber threat activity per second. And after my presentation, I'm probably going to share some sites with you on the chat so you can look them up. So the threat activity for malware, malware is like putting a worm, whatever, into your system, into your network or your phone or whatever it is, your email. Now, the malware samples created and discovered per second, please take note, is between approximately 7 to 10 new samples, not repeated samples. So some people, what they do is they're seated somewhere and they're creating malware that would destroy somebody's email, that would destroy somebody's life. A lot of people have committed suicide after being attacked online, and because they feel the attacker are taking everything they've worked for years, so they can't even see themselves surviving. So people are creating 10 per second. So you can imagine how many seconds do we have in a day? The number of malware samples that they've chunked out there to say, let's test this on this particular country, this particular individual or company, right? And the phishing email where they will send you an email. Oh, I am the central bank governor of Malaysia. I realized that your auntie, who passed on 10 years ago, still has 5 billion. I'm sure all of you must have received that email one time or the other, and that's the phishing attack. And here the research is saying, and this is as of 2025, we can't have 2026 anyway, because as a matter of fact, this is between 2001 and late 2021 to about 2024, late 2024, because I mean, you have to wait for the end of the year to be able to get the statistics and all of that. So 2025 statistics, it's kind of been collated and all of that, but you just have an idea of what I'm talking about. So this has like 1,500 to 2,000 emails per second. So they're dishing it out. And the reason why this is like this is, and it's going to get worse in 2026. I tell you why. Because AI will help them dish out this email conveniently. And with AI, what you do it for a day, AI will do it for a second. So AI would help them push like millions. So you have to ensure that your cybersecurity, you have cybersecurity awareness. Of course, there's the ransomware attack where they would encrypt your data. You get to work or you open your system and you see that everything is looking like gibberish. You don't even understand. It's either in some language or they've turned everything to there was a time you'd be amazed that I got attacked and everything was in newspaper. They just turned all my data to newspaper and I laughed because there's a backup, so it can come in any form, right? And here it's saying approximately one organization is being attacked every 2 to 3 seconds. So I mean, as you take your breath, an organization is being attacked, and that's globally. Now, the brute force login as well attempts that they do to try all passwords. You also have like approximately 100,000 attempts every second. So they're trying your password, which password will go and all of. And for those of you that use passwords like, your first child's name or your significant partner's name and all of that, all those passwords are what they are trying to penetrate into. And of course, there's a data record compromise. Mostly we can also call that the business email compromise, BEC. And they do that, approximately 300 of it per second. So they send emails to you to see they might even send it from once they've gotten over your session. They'll send it maybe from your MD to you and all of that. Now, the overall intrusion attempts, when they scan and exploit you, they want to see if there's vulnerability where they can enter. You know how they say it's in Nigeria, when there's a crack on the wall, you see the wall gecko. That's when you see wall gecko around you. So they're looking for cracks where they can come in. It's about millions per second. So now I also looked at the average costs of this data breach. What is costing this data breach? So average costs, global average cost is about approximately 6.5 million per breach. So if there's an attack in an organization or personal, it's the worth of that data is the cost, is the 6.5 million, dollar they're talking about. And of course, I've mentioned healthcare. That's one area that a lot of people are not paying attention to, and that's where those bad guys are actually having a feel. And we're talking about $12 million, the most expensive sector when it comes to attacking, because that's where your record, remember, your entire record is there. And US is the most the highest region that's that has the average cost of data breach, which is 10 million. And of course, the mega breaches that we've had, have gone into tunes of 400 million. So really, ransomware related breaches that gives you headache most times is between $5 and $8 million. And this is not even what they asked for. Remember that bank example I told you, that the guy was, as a matter of fact, he asked for $25 million, but to be released. But good enough, the bank was in right standing, so they just sorted it out. Now, let's look at the estimated daily annual malware samples that we have. Estimated almost 1 million new samples per day. Remember, we talked about per second, per day, almost 1 million, samples that go out to say, okay, let's try it. Will this one work? Will this one not work? And the total unique samples that is existing as we speak is 2 billion. As in unique ones that are like, yes, this one has actually, all these people that play bets, I'm sorry, yes, this one has entered, yes, this one is good, and all of that. So that is the one we're talking about here. And the percentage of malware, that is polymorphic is about over 90%. So most common malware that you have is all this Trojan, ransomware, worms, and all of that. So we need to be conscious of these numbers so that we understand the significance of being cybersecurity literate for ourselves and for our organizations. So what are the current threats that we see? Like I said earlier, hackers have become very sophisticated these days because of AI, so the AI has helped them a lot to exploit a lot of organizations that even felt they were right standing, the phishing, the ransomware, data breach, business email compromise, and all of that are some of the forms of attack that are very common these days, right? So again, the more we become digital, the more we become exposed to what's happening in the cyber world and all of that, the more the risk is. So in trying to mitigate that risk, you also need to know what is happening around you when it comes to, cyber crimes, cybersecurity, and all of that. You can't afford to be an illiterate when it comes to cybersecurity, because it's very crucial to your data. Now, we talk about weak password. People use some password that even a toddler can hack. You need to ensure these days a minimum of 16 password alphanumeric. Make it as hard as possible. That would help you. Now, there's something called social engineering. What social engineering does is, it manipulates people within to attack the organization without even knowing. So you have, maybe you're online, you're on Facebook, and someone comes into your DM to say, oh, LA, how are you? You know, I see you this where do you work? You know, and I start giving out all those information. And of course, because the person is an opposite gender, I may feel a bit relaxed to say, oh, this Oyinbo person or this Nigerian or whoever the person is, you know, really likes me. And the conversation goes on, and before you know it, you know, we start talking more. You find out that the person starts talking more about your work, and you feel, oh, this person is concerned about me. And I mean, this is just an example of how social engineering can work. And there might be areas like, oh, how was your day today? Oh, you know, this IT, you know, I had an issue and all of that. I can help you. I'm also into IT. Can you log in, you know, use your password, log in into environment. I will have access, then I'll tell you what to do and all of that. They can come in like that. They can even come in, you know, through internal threats where people are like, oh, I'm being disgruntled, you know, I'm not being paid well. Let me do something and all of that. So there's also the ransomware, you know, where they lock up your files. You can't do anything. You get to work, your password is not working, nothing is working. You can't get into your domain and all of that. And the phishing, I talked about it, the fake emails they will send to you. I've talked about, you know, data breach. And I've also talked about malware, where you have your Trojan, you have your, you know, worms and virus and all of that. Now, what are the best practices for cybersecurity? I mentioned it earlier. At least a minimum of, you know, 16 characters. You can see what is on the screen. You know, blue coffee mug at 2024. Meanwhile, is quoted 2024 exclamation. I mean, before anybody would think of this, it will be difficult, right? So you need to make it could be a sentence like, you know, but make sure that there are characters and numbers in it that would, you know, make it difficult for someone to be able to act. And of course, it shouldn't be a sentence that's like, oh, I am a girl, you know, it could be something like maybe your favorite. Like if you look at this now, maybe it's a favorite color and the person likes coffee and the person likes the coffee in a mug. You know, so it would be difficult for someone to really think about it in that way. And there should be two-factor authentication. So even when you have it, I expect everyone to have authenticator on their phones, either your Android or your iPhone, you know, so that when you put in your password, it's asking you for a code to authenticate that password, so that the system is sure that you're the owner, and the code can be sent to another phone or is sent to an email, just to be sure. So that is very important. And there has to be regular updates. A lot of you see updates from your Android or your iPhone or your system to say, oh, updates. And you're like, I'll update later. If I update now, it's going to slow me down. You know, to take about 2 hours to finish updating. Please, 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 always update. The OEMs know what they're doing when they send you an update, because they've seen a threat. They've, you know, most of them are, in short, all of them are also available in the dark web, because they are monitoring what the bad guys are doing, you know. So please always do that. And again, awareness like this, training like this is very important. If your organization is not sending you, send yourself, because don't forget, cybersecurity is not only for your organization, it's also for you. Now, what are your digital defense tools that you can use? You need to think before you click. No matter how familiar it is, you know, if someone sends you a link, you know, or an attachment, and the person is your colleague and is sitting in front of you, you know, I would expect, what I will do, I would say, oh, hi, Abdullah, you sent me an email, right? With an attachment. And if he says no, I haven't sent, I'm just about to send it, then I know that is, I mean, you'll probably be wondering, LA, but that's your colleague now and is your email official email address. Please still ask. Any email with link and attachments is always good to double check, especially when you're not expecting that email, you know. So check the sender's address. There are so many links that you can use to check, you know, have I been pawned? So many other links that are there that you can just put the URL there and it will tell you if it's authentic or not. Then when you are in doubt, don't click, just like I said, even if it's Abdullah that sent it. But I doubt if Abdullah will send this email at this time of the night, because I know Abdullah sleeps at 9 o'clock. Why is he sending me an email at 2 a.m., right? Then you need to back up regularly. There's this rule, 3-2-1 rule for backup. You know, you have 3 copies of your backup two of them are in different devices. So it's either in your external drive, in your, cloud environment or whatever, or within your system. I mean, another system in your environment, and you have one offsite where it's not, maybe you do that one once in a month or whatever, but just keep it outside your environment in case that environment gets burnt, so that you don't lose everything. Now you need to also protect yourself against ransomware. They always say penny wise, pound foolish. It's cheaper for you to update and have a difficult password than to pay somebody $10,000 just to get your data back, right? And always do backup. Secure your home environment. A lot of you will buy router and you just leave that same password. Anybody comes to your house, even with that same password, I can literally hack you and enjoy your internet that you're paying so much for. But always change it, and enable VPA3 encryption. And again, when you know that you always have people come to your house, please create another network and call it guest. Don't give them the same network that you're using, because I can come to your house and say, Garba, please give me your the password to your internet. I want to do some work. As soon as I have that password into your internet, I'm already in your domain, and I can do anything. I can hack you. As a matter of fact, if you say, oh, please share your Bluetooth, or I want to send you something, once your Bluetooth is enabled and I'm within your environment, I would hack you nicely and just let you know that, look, you know, ask for ransom. Now, what are the tools to safeguard this? Make sure that your antivirus is up to date. Make sure that your firewall is up to date, even on your personal devices. Make sure that your password, most of your critical files, especially files that that you don't want anyone to have access to. Make sure that it's encrypted, make sure that it's passworded, and always have backup. Remember, I talked about backup. And for organizations, make sure that the backup is restored. Have a schedule. If it's going to be weekly restore, you do, or you want to do monthly. Monthly is too far. Bi-weekly restore you want to do. The reason why you're doing that restore is because you want to be sure that the data that you backed up is actually well backed up. I mean, you could use tape or whatever you want to use to back up, right? Back up in any environment, cloud, on-prem. But and you think, oh, because there was no error when you were backing up, the backup was successful. It doesn't work like that. So you have to have skills to even go do the backup. So data privacy and compliance, I'm sure you've heard of NDPR. They've been talking about it, your data privacy, the data can be out. And one of the reasons is also that Nigeria is one of the strongest in Africa, when it comes to data privacy, because, there's a rule or a law that you can't have your data outside Nigeria, especially for regulated bodies. They also have the GDPR as well in Europe. So it's mandated that you follow the rules. If you want to collect somebody's information, you have to collect the information that you need to process that particular transaction you want to process. So you don't work in a loan company now and somebody wants to take a loan and you're asking for the person's middle name, you're asking for the person's best color, you're asking if the person is married or has children and all of that. No, just collect the data that you need to process that loan. That's what one of the things that NDPR is talking about. And when you're collecting this data, it's my right as the borrower to say, please, what do you want to use this data for? What are you using my data for? You find that most times when you log in to some sites, they tell you that, oh, your data is going to be used for adverts, check if it's okay, or your data will be stored for 2 years in our database, and if that's fine by you and all of that. So it's very important that you look at those things and you're particular about it. So I go to offices and I see that they bring out register and they'll tell you to write your name and write your information there. In so many cases, I've told them, no, I won't. So I either call the person to say, you come out and let's have this meeting, or I'm not going to come in, but when they insist, I just put abbreviations and I remove 1 or 2 numbers from my phone number, because you tell me to put my full details and register, right, in your company. Now I've gone inside. Another person comes in. You will see my details, my name, my phone number, my office, my whatever on that register. And the person will just, most times the security people are not even watching, so they snap it, and I can snap it and go away with it and do a lot with that information. So you have to be extremely careful, right? And also ensure that you encrypt sensitive information. Now you have to have like an incident response plan, where you document the threats. You make sure that you have buckets for each of them. So this threat is maybe from a particular region of your organization, you put it there. Or maybe this threat is from a particular sector, a particular department, right? You put it there. So it helps you to see where the attack is coming from. It helps you to also go back and review the incidents that has happened over the years, and see how you can mitigate and make sure that that particular um either department or region is well taken care of, and such vulnerability is not available anywhere in the system, right? So, and of course, with incident response, it also helps you to say how, you have to document how you recovered from that incident. So if you have a similar incident, it's something you can always go back to and see how that is done. Now, the common threats that we see, I talked about AI. Even in AI, you see a lot happening there, cybersecurity threats, machine language. There's something called zero trust security. I described it somehow earlier, where do not trust anybody. Even if that person is your spouse, your child, or whatever, do not trust anybody, right? Because what it does is it safeguard you from being attacked, right? So don't say, oh, this email was, oh, this WhatsApp message that has a link, oh, was sent to me by LA. I know LA now, and you click on it. No, pick up or send a chat to say, LA, what's this link about? I know you're saying that it's about one story that you saw online, but please give me a brief, because once you open it, that's it, right? And you see a lot around the cloud security as well. You see a lot around blockchain. Blockchain, it's like it's mostly used, but in banks and also tech places, because it helps to strengthen the trust, right? In your technology space. So what's a booming security job market we can see? I'm almost rounding up. Now, research has shown that 3.5 million unfiled security jobs are available globally. So why are we not tapping into it? As a matter of fact, the arrival of AI, let me use that word, or the the awareness of AI has even brought in more jobs around cybersecurity. And with cybersecurity, you have zero unemployment in cyber. So that means there are jobs there waiting, but there's nobody to do it. So a lot of people are afraid. They don't know. They say, oh, cybersecurity is tough and everything, but there are several areas. There's a GRC, there's a SOC. I'm going to look, we're going to go through all. There is the non-code and code part of cybersecurity. So you don't have to be a developer, or you have to know how to write scripts before you can be in cybersecurity. And the salaries are higher than the regular IT jobs that you see. The good thing about it is you can do it remotely, you can do it physically, and you can have it as hybrid version as well. And they are needed in all sectors. It's not only in banks. Remember I kept mentioning healthcare in every sector. So SMEs, whatever. And a good, beautiful part of cybersecurity is by the time you even retire, you can still continue as an architect, cybersecurity architect, or a consultant, because you can go to your community meeting to say, oh, okay, so I want to help you, or give an awareness, or help you with your to secure your personal data and all of that. So there's always job when it comes to cybersecurity. So these are the pathways for entry level. There's something called the security analyst, where you have the preliminary knowledge of the entire domain, the cybersecurity domain. And you also have the SOC analysts. You know, those are the people that watch what's the traffic that is going on around your environment, usually in at your workplace. You know, they see if there's been an attack, if the attack was successful and all of that. And they have the vulnerability analyst as well to check, oh, where are the cracks in the organization? Remember what I said, when there's a crack, the wall gecko comes in. So they quickly go there and plaster the crack. And there's the IT auditor, which is a non-code part of cybersecurity. So you're just there as an auditor to ensure that everybody is conforming, you know, to check that there are no loopholes. The things that the security guys are doing, you know, are they effective about it? Is somebody watching the SOC? Is, you know, and there's a middle level specialist career too that talks about the incident responder. You know, I talked about the incident management plan the other time. You know, you have the penetration tester, someone that tests your codes, you know, after, whether during or while you're working, or you know, after you finish coding, to test it to be sure that it is free of SQL injection, is free of all vulnerabilities that you can ever imagine. And of course, there's a security engineer that does the architecture, that, you know, is in charge of maybe your security in the cloud or on premise. And there's a forensic analyst too that checks who has done what. You know how the forensic works, right? They can actually literally see who, you know, who is your footprints on the network, and they can detect what is going on and who has done what. And there's a leadership role of it as well. Yeah, you have the architecture. You know, I've talked about the security architecture. You draw the architecture of organizations, you implement it and all of that. And there's a chief CISO, you know, chief information security officer, that is in charge, and also a consultant, like I mentioned earlier. So these are the skills that you need to start with. You need to have a technical skills, right? You need to know what you are even watching. You need to know the network. You need to know what firewall is, you know, what your IP and all of that is, your DNS and all. You need to understand operating systems, which you are all familiar with. You need to know the cloud you want to use. Is it the Azure, AWS, whatever cloud, you know? And you need to have soft skill as well as a cybersecurity person. And that's one thing that a lot of people always, you know, put on at the back burner. Is very important. You have to be very analytic. You have to be able to think, because you're thinking like a thief that wants to come and rob your house. So when you have a house, you know, you put your burglary, you put your security doors and all of that. You're doing that because you're thinking, what if I don't put all of this, you know? And it's just an ordinary key, no burglary. The thief can come in. So you have to be very analytic, right? You have to be a step ahead, and you have to have good communication skills, because you need to be able to explain to management or explain to people that, look, if you don't do this, if you don't secure this data, you know, you get attacked. But if you cannot communicate that, that's going to be a big problem, right? And you have to have that mindset of reading. With cybersecurity, you read till you drop. That's what I always tell people. Every day, you can imagine those things I showed you, the seconds, the number of things that people are doing, malware, you know, ransomware, Trojan, and all of that per second. So you can't afford to say, oh, 1 hour, I'm not even looking at anything around cybersecurity. You'll be left behind. You'll become obsolete. You won't be relevant. So every second, I mean, not every second, but you need to always ensure that you're updated, right? And these are some of the certifications that you can also have. So having said that, I would encourage everyone to have a 90-day plan. You know, say to yourself, February, thank God tomorrow is February, that February, I'm going to have to learn the fundamentals of cybersecurity. And I'm sure Chester will be happy to help you with the fundamentals of cybersecurity. There's so many Microsoft fundamentals, and also Microsoft Learn, that you can see the fundamentals, but they will be there to guide you and give you, you know, thorough training on that. Then month 2, maybe in March, you now say, you know what, I've learned this, I need to have an answer. So you need to create an environment in your house to say, I want to have a lab. I want to crack this system. I want to create a virus into my system and I want to be able to resolve it. I want to, everything that you've learned, you have to be able to do it practically because nobody's going to hand over their organization to you if you do not have that experience. Even if you've learned it and you've done the exam, you're certified, you need to have that hands-on experience. So it's very important. Go to places and tell them, I want to work for you for free because, just to help you to in your cybersecurity domain. And with that, you would learn a lot. Don't wait until you get hired and you now want to start using what you've learned, during your training to do that and get certification. For a lot of organizations, it just gives them that comfort that for you to pass an external exam, means you have an idea of what's going on. And certifications, of course, they don't come cheap. So for you to spend dollars to do that, they know that you know what you're doing. So what are the takeaway before I take a bow? Everybody needs cybersecurity basics, no matter what. Even if we are going to listen to other speakers, amazing speakers coming after me, you still need the basis of cybersecurity. So I'll encourage you to have it so that you can protect yourself first before before you get attacked. Then you start, remember, change your password, minimum 16, minimum, updates, very critical, and be careful of messages that come either through WhatsApp, your email, whatever it is. And cybersecurity career are accessible, like I said, talk to Chester. They will give you a pathway on how to go. Then you begin with foundation, get certified, get your experience, right? The field never needs diverse backgrounds, so they need you. Cybersecurity space is looking for you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wow. Please, can we give Ellie a round of applause? Wow. I didn't want to stop you. I just wanted it to go on and on and on and on. Because this is very relevant. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for, yes. I even learned some things. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yes, I can see. Wow. A round of applause. Yes. And all the emojis. Thank you very much, Ellie.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes,
thank
awesome. On cybersecurity. And if you have questions, please could you drop your questions on the chat? We'll take the questions after the speakers. Yeah, I gave her. I know she went beyond her time, but I didn't want to stop her because what she was saying is so relevant.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, not at all. Please. We wanted all that. We wanted the knowledge because knowledge is power. Okay, now I'd like to call on the next speaker. He's Mr. Doctor. He's a doctor. Ayodeji Folari is going to speak to us on data analysis. Yeah, he's a data analysis guru. Yeah, please welcome Mr. Deji. He's a Microsoft value professional, an MVP, yeah, and a Microsoft certified trainer. Okay, please welcome Dr. Ayodeji Folari. A round of applause for him, please.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Let me see if I can get my screen up there. Share screen. Let me share my entire screen. So I guess my screen should be visible now. Okay.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, so let me throw up my slide. So we are actually looking at one interesting topic: improve decision making with the 4 types of analytics. And this is a program called Awareness Section to advance your tech career. So, and we have quite a lot to talk about. But before we start, Let me formally introduce myself. Once again, I'm Ayodeji Folarin, and I'm a Microsoft MCT and MVP, Microsoft Certified Trainer, and Microsoft Most Valued Professional on Data Platform. I'm an IT consultant, a BI developer, a trainer, and a public speaker. So let me move on to what we'll be looking at today. So we want to quickly talk about the benefit of data analytics. Let's look at the types of data analytics. Let's look at the values and the complexity of these 4 types of data analytics. Let me take us through a simple demo. Let us ask questions, and let me give you guidelines on how you can become a guru in this path, a professional, recognized professional in this career path. So, what is data analytics? Data analytics is a process of analyzing raw data in order to make conclusion about the information that is being asked. You have raw data handed over to you, which I'm going to demonstrate shortly. You want to be able to pick up this raw data, dig out some fact about the data to make decision. So why do we really need data analysis? Number 1 is to support the decision you are making. Several years back, we do what we call guesswork. Let's try it like this. Last year, we tried this way, did not work. Let's try this way. No company will go forward on guesswork. Every organization needs to know why we are taking this decision. And data analytics helps to support that decision you are making. That no, this decision will work perfectly for you, based on these facts and figures that you have out there. Number 2, it helps you to increase what you call efficiency. You get better. Based on the analysis and the insights, I found that we are not doing too well here. We need to put in some extra thing here to get the best out of this place. It helps to increase what you call efficiency. And it helps you to understand your business better. By the time you have the figures right in front of you, it gives you this great understanding of that business, that, oh, this is what is happening. And help you to innovate your products. No, based on the survey I just did, this is the feedback I got about this particular product. So let me bring back those feedback. And let me see how it will be accepted, the next version of the product. It helps about what? Innovation. And it helps you to understand your customer behavior. Know your customer better. Oh, this category, you can help you to do what you call clustering, categorization of your customer, getting to understand who your customer is, or their behavior, and every other thing. Then you can know how to manage them better. So that is what data analysis can bring to the table. This is to let you know that many organizations, they are looking for somebody with this skill to be able to help them identify, bring to the table all these benefits we are discussing. Now, before we do the demo, let me briefly touch on the types of analytics that we have. Some books will tell you 3 types of analytics. Some books will tell you 5 types of analytics. But I'm going to tell you 4 types of analytics in this presentation. Number 1, we have what we call descriptive analytics. when we talk about descriptive, this simply explains what happened to your business in time past. It uses the historical data to let you see, describe what you have been passing through for the past few years into that business. That is called descriptive analysis. We have another type of analysis. This focuses more on explaining why some things happened to your business. And this type of analysis is called diagnostic analysis. It explains why it happened. Why did this thing happen to me? Diagnostic analysis. The third one is predictive. This type of analysis tell you what will likely happen to you tomorrow in future. It forecasts, it go ahead of you to analyze how tomorrow will look like. And finally, we have what we call prescriptive analysis. This prescribes to us recommendation and actions that needs to be taken based on the, what's it called? The prediction he has seen. So in detail, let me quickly touch on all the 4 types of analytics. Descriptive analytics answer the question, what happened? We are looking back and we are asking ourselves, in the past, for the past 4 years, for the past 10 years, for the past 50 years, for the past 100 years that we've been in this business, what's happened to us? Or I'm just a new player in the industry. I can gather data about the players in the industry and see for the past few years how they've been faring, how they've been doing. So that gives me idea of what they have been passing through. It describes what is happening in that industry. This type of analysis is called descriptive. And there is another one that answers the question, why did it happen to me? Why did this thing really happen on this particular day, in this particular location? This type of analysis is called diagnostic analysis, root cause analysis. This type of analytics help you understand why something happened by digging deeper into the data. So diagnostic analysis answer the question, why did it happen? There is another, the third one, that one answer the question, what will happen to me? At this point, we are no more looking backward. We are using the historical data to predict the future. So this is called predictive analysis. This type of analytics uses machine learning algorithm, AI, that we are talking about. This is the AI, to predict future outcome based on historical data. Predictive analysis answer the question, what will happen to the business? And finally, the fourth one, prescriptive analysis answer the question, what should we do at this point? About the situation at hand, what should we do? Prescriptive analytics is a type of analytics uses machine learning algorithm to suggest actions that can be taken to optimize a particular outcome. Prescriptive analytics answer the question, what should we do about it? Now, quickly, let me give you the value and the complexity of all this type of analytics. The one that is very simple to start with, if you are interested in becoming a data analyst is to go into descriptive analysis. The data is already there. You are leveraging that data to understand what has happened to the business. Because it has happened, the value is less. Because it has already happened. The value is what? Is less. But it is not complex. The second one is to answer, maybe when you are doing descriptive analysis, you observe that there are some key issues. Now, you want to know why those issues came up in the business. What really happened? What triggered those things? At that point, you've moved up to a much complex level, and the value you will derive there is much, because you want to see what led to the problem so that you will guide yourself, such should not happen again. That is called diagnostic analysis. It's a little bit complex, and the value there is much higher than descriptive analytics. Both, they are looking at past, what has happened to you, why it happened to you. But there's another tool that look into the future, that rely more on machine learning, artificial intelligence, and that is what we call predictive analysis and prescriptive analysis. The complexity is a little bit higher, and the value you derive is much more better, because this is not telling you what will happen to you tomorrow. Woman, generally, we love if somebody will tell us by tomorrow, this is what will happen to you. And if it happened, you will see people coming around me. Please come and tell me what will happen to me tomorrow. People will be ready to pay me millions to tell them, I want to go on a journey. Please tell me what will happen. I have two people. I want to pick a life partner. Tell me who I should pick. If I keep answering and it's true, I bet you I will become a millionaire. The same thing with data analytics. Once you get to predictive, it's a little bit complex compared to descriptive and diagnostic, but the value is much more higher than them. So it's complex and it's higher in value. And the last one that is also futuristic is prescriptive, telling you how to navigate the future. This is how you should start moving if you really want to break even. So it is also, it's highly complex compared to predictive, and the value there is much more higher. So without wasting much time, I want to go into some demo for us to see. And apart from getting into demo, I want to quickly answer one question that people always ask me. How can I start? The easiest and the fastest way to get yourself up and running here is to start with a professional certification, complete the training, do some hands-on projects, and then go for the certification examination. If you can do that professional examination, then you are already out there. The one that I did and I'm using till today is PL 300. That is data analysis and visualization with Microsoft Power BI. Analyzing data, visualizing data with Power BI. The exam code is PL 300. And Chesca is a good place if you really want to pick up a career to be a data analyst. And I will not say much. If your system is in front of you or your phone is in front of you, just put it there. Power BI professional. What is their salary level like, and what is any vacancy? Just vacancy. Look for vacancy around people that are good in data analysis using Power BI. And once you do that on your mobile phone, come back to the chat and drop your observation on the chat. If you are good, then you can make a living in this career path. If you are lazy, then you need to brush off the laziness, get ready, meet people that will handhold you, like Chesca Solution, through this path so that you can become a professional and you can make a living for yourself. So I move into 1 or 2 demo session. Let me launch the Power BI. I hope I still have a few more minutes. Hello, can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great.
We can hear you.
Like how many minutes or seconds do I have left?
Just go on. We would like to see the demo. We'll give you more time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm launching the environment called Microsoft Power BI. So on getting here, let me say, please give me a blank reporting interface. For those of us that have never built a report before, I want to tell you it is not difficult. It is not difficult. But Power BI is made up of so many things. Number one, it's made up of the what we call ETL. Before you can start analyzing data, you must bring in the data from somewhere. So I don't care where the data is. Power BI is ready to pull in data from anywhere for you. Let me click on Get Data. As you can see on my screen, it can pull data from all these data sources. Is your data sitting in Excel, in Power BI semantic model, data flow, data vast, SQL Server, MySQL, analysis services, test/CSV, web, OData, blank, and many more. Let me click on the more so that you can see that it can pick data from over 300 data sources out there. So from all these data sources, you can pull in your data. And instead of you scrolling through, just type the data source you want to pull from. My data is sitting on MySQL. Just type MySQL, it is available. Or my data is sitting on Oracle. Just type Oracle, Oracle is there. My data is sitting on SQL Server, Postgre, MongoDB. I don't care. It can pull data from anywhere. So I want to pick data from PDF. It can also pull data from PDF. Maybe somebody send you data is in PDF. Don't get disturbed. Don't get worked up. It can pull data from PDF for you. But for this class, I want to pick a data from Microsoft Excel. So let me come to Excel and connect. Okay. Oh, good. I have this sample data, sales data. Let me use this sales data to do this demo. So it can be HR data, it can be procurement data, any data. So data analysis can work on any form of organizational data, financial data, I don't care. As long as you know how to get the data, clean it up and analyze, then you are ready for big story. So I want to get this sales data. So I can check the box and it's telling me, do you want to load it and start analyzing straight off, or you want to do some transformation? Most cases, we need to clean up the data that was handed over to us. And that is why this process is called ETL. Extract the data, transform the data, then load the data. So the data set right in front of me is ready. So what type of transformation do I want to do on the data set? Let me see. I can see a column called order ID. I don't want the column to be numeric, to be numbers. I can right click and then say change the type to text because I will not use it for calculation. Add it as a new step. It has made it a test, not number. This is order dates. I think I'm okay because the type is already dates. This is unit cost. For my unit cost, can you change the data type to fixed decimal? Fixed decimal. So it will have just 2 decimal place. The same thing to unit price. Can you make this also change the data type into fees decimal with 2 decimal place? Then this is making sense. The quantity of the order, let me leave it as integer, 1, 2, 3. Integer is okay. I would love to have the sales figure. This is the unit cost. This is the unit price. This is the quantity. I sold each of them for 304 and I sold 9 pieces. Can I quickly have a column called sales? I can come to add column on my menu. Very simple. Add a column for me. This column, custom. Custom means allow me express myself. Custom column. What is the name of the column? Call it sales or revenue, anyone I like. The sales should be what? The unit price, price of 1. Select it and say insert it. He has written unit price. Multiply. We all know in computer, multiply is asterisk. Asterisk what? Order quantity. Insert it to my formula. So this is what I'm going to do for you, and I will call it sales. Fantastic. There is no syntax error. Then click on OK. He has calculated sales for me. This sales, change the data type also to fees decimal. I don't want it at the extreme. Can you move it closer to that quantity? You see, you can drag. All these things are data transformation. I'm transforming my data to make sure they are fit for use. Now, at this point, let me stop here as assumption that the data is clean, is ready for analysis. I can come back to O and say close and apply all the changes I have done on the data set. If tomorrow they add more record to the original Excel file, I don't need to stress myself. The updated version will be transformed and be added to my report immediately just by clicking on refresh button. Now the data is here. I can do some interesting thing here. I can work on the table. That is the data I brought in. I can work on the report to build a report, which we are going to build together. And also, I can do what we call modeling, model view. But because of time, let me just build 1 or 2 reports and I will stop there for today. The very first report I want to build is called descriptive analysis. I want to describe what has happened to the business. Let me say, can you give me a donut? I click on the donut. On these donuts, can I see what the channel are doing based on the sales? Beautiful. He has completed a report. I can quickly see sum of sales by channel. What are my channel doing by sales? And it's so obvious that this one is the biggest. This part of the donut is the biggest. Let me point to it with my mouse. It's telling me store. The channel is store, which is giving me 32, is that million? 32 million pounds. Number 1, don't call pounds here so that they won't think I'm making big money. It's naira. Let me scroll down under the column 2. Let me scroll down and look for any naira sign here. Where are my nairas? There are a lot of naira here. I've not seen any. But I know if I go towards the end, because it's in alphabetical order, Yoruba, why? Yoruba, Nigeria, naira. Change it. Good. If I point to it now, it will tell me, yes, this is more comfortable. 32 million naira was realized from the store. If I come here, it's telling me online 11 million, reseller 7 million, catalog 5 million. This is a nice report. I want to build another interesting report. This time, maybe give me a funnel. On my funnel, let me see what each zone is doing. Zone by revenue, by sales. Instantly, it's telling me southeastern part of the country is giving me about 15 million. The lowest one is Federal Capital Territory, followed by Northeast. This is good. Now, all these things I'm doing here is only telling me what has happened to the business. Southeastern part, they are really doing very well. Store is the best among the channel. This is what we call descriptive analysis. Now, let us go a step further. Let us look at what we call diagnostic analysis. Let me do another interesting report. Give me a column chart. On my column chart, let me see what is happening yearly on my sales. I hope you can all see this. So let me see and how we can make this a little bit bigger. Okay. Now, this is descriptive. I'm describing that you guys, you started your business in 2011 and your business went up in 2012. We don't know what really happened to your business. There was a decline in 2013 from 21 million. There was a drop to 17 million in 2013. And there was a further dip in the revenue to 16 million in 2014. If you continue to do business the same way, I'm predicting that next year, it will go down. In another 10 years, you may likely go back to your village and stop this. The business will crash, will fold up in another 10 years. Now, the question is, what are we doing wrongly? Is there a problem in what we are doing? At that point, I want to do what we call diagnostic analysis. Tell me what I am doing wrong. So now I can just right click on one of these bar here. Right clicking, let me see. This second bar is moving up. I expected the third one to move up, but it came down. Let me ask a question. Why did you come down? Or let me ask a question. Why did this second one go up? I want to know why. I want to answer the question, why did we have a spike or a dip in our sales this particular year? Just a right click and look at all the options given to you. I can pick one option called Help Me Analyze. Now it's asking me, explain the decrease. Because you observe that this one I right click on is a dip. Let me right click on the second one, for example. Right click on the second one and I come to analyze. Look at what he changed it to. He said, explain the increase. He observed that this second one increased compared to the previous months. So it depends on what you are looking for. But I'm looking for what caused the problem here, so I can avoid such problem next year. Analyze, explain what led to the decrease. And he's going to quickly do some analysis on his own without writing any special code. He said, here is the analysis of 17.29 decrease in sum of sales between 2012 and 2013. Between that period, there is a drop. Now, here is what led to the drop. Number one, he said, store accounted for the majority of the decrease among the channel. People are no more going to the store the way they used to go to the store the previous year. Just within 1 year, you lost over 4 million naira to store. But online, compared to the previous year, online is trying to peak, is going up. This one is also trying to peak. Reseller is trying to peak. Why not major on this and stop opening store? People don't feel comfortable going to store. They prefer online nowadays. Just within 1 year, look at the magnitude. So that is one. He's telling me why there are challenges. Look at another example. Cameras and camcorders accounted for the majority of the decrease amongst the product category. I have gone through your product category. Cameras and camcorders are no more selling the way they used to sell in the previous years. Why are you placing huge order, bringing in cameras Who will buy it from you? This is answering the question, why? Look at what he told me. Another one, Edo, Delta, and Cross River are the largest decrease amongst your states. Most likely they are competitors competing with you in Edo, Delta, and Cross River. Why not investigate? If truly you have competitors, you need to go into price war. You need to make sure you still claim the market share. Otherwise, you will may lose all this area for life. Now look at what we are talking about. So he has done so many analyses for me. This type of analysis is what I call diagnostic. Start telling me where the problem lies. Another type of analysis, I want to predict into the future. I want to know what I should do. Predictive analysis and prescriptive analysis. Let me quickly see if I can do one more before I run out of time. Give me another report. This time I want a line chart. On my line chart, let me see what we have been doing in terms of sales. Where is it? Date on daily basis. Let me see our sales. Beautiful. But this on yearly basis. Because it's a line graph, I can expand it all. So this is what we have been doing day by day in the business. Let me point somewhere. It's telling me on Q4 2011, December 30th, our sales for that day is 44,000 naira. Let me come here. Q2 2014, May 13, our sales for that day is 85,000. The last day here, let me come to the last day. Q4, December 4, 2014, our sales is 24,000. I want to project 1 year forward and see how my sales will how it will look in the next 1 year, next 2 years, next 10 years. That is called predictive analysis. And let me quickly do what we call predictive analysis.
Hello.
Hello?
Please, can you mute yourself?
I'm getting
Please mute yourself. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So under the formats, let me see all what is available to me. Where this, okay, let me bring it up here so it won't disturb me. So under my formats, I've done a line chart telling me from the beginning of my business to the end of my business, this is what I've been doing. I want to forecast. Forecast means get into the future. Let me put it on, it is off. Let me expand it. For the forecast, every unit here represents a day. I want to go, if I'm going by day, for 1 year, that'll be 365 days. Don't ignore any day to the past. Sensitivity, just use automatic. Confidence interval, give me 95% confidence interval. Go ahead and forecast for me. All this part here is in the future. The data stop in these blue parts. It's already telling me. So we assume that we are in 2014. It's already telling me that 2015, no, on this part, on November 8th, which is in Q4 of 2015, you are going to make 59,964 naira. Imagine that very day you make this amount, you will always worship me that, wow, this man, anything he says is always correct. This is predicting into the future. It's called predictive analysis. So at this point, I'm going to draw the curtain here. This is 30 minutes. So please let me see if there's any question for me. If there's any question, show by raise of hands. If there is no question, I will hand over to the moderator. Any question, please? Any question?
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Ayodeji Falarin. Please, can we give him a round of applause? Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very
Thank
much. We
you
appreciate
very
you.
much.
Yes, there's a question actually on the chat.
Okay.
Robert says, because, okay, we'll take your question because I know you said that you need to leave, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, the question is, do you need to write codes in SQL and also R as a data analyst?
Fantastic. Please, let me quickly say this. As for beginner, you can leverage on a low-code, no-code platform. That is Power BI. Power BI for beginners, you might not need to write code to solve company problem. But as you get deeper into this industry, even look at Power BI. I don't know if my screen is still visible. You will see Python visual, Python. You will see the R you mentioned is also here. You cannot run away from them if you start getting advanced. You want to get to the peak, then I will recommend. But for beginners, please don't let all those coding cause trouble for you for beginners. You can start with Power BI, low code, no code, and start making money for yourself. But Python, R, SQL, they are essential if you want to get to the peak of your career. So what is the importance of Python programming language to data analysis? Python, R, they are script language, programming language that analysts use if you don't want to rely on what to call this environment that we are used to, Power BI or Tableau, which is more like drag and drop. You want to write your code yourself. You can leverage on some ready-made libraries that you can call up and then put some few lines of code, and you get something similar to what we have done here. But at that point, you must know how to code. But if you want to start low-code environment platform, I will recommend this for a good start for you. But please don't forget Python, R, SQL, machine learning, all these things I've mentioned, they are key if you really want to advance in this path. But if you want to know all these things before you start making money, it might be tough for you. I would recommend start with PL 300 as a career path, do the training, do the professional exam, get a job. Let that job finance every other further learning you want to do. Thank you very much. Do we need subscription to use the analytical tool? This analytical tool I just showed to you is 100% free. Just download Power BI desktop. It is free. But if you want to send it to somebody to see your work or send it to your mobile phone to see what you have done, then you must subscribe. It's a monthly subscription. But for you to learn with, to practice with, to solve personal problem, I bet you get the Power BI desktop. It is 100% free. I saw a video on LinkedIn that SQL is where the bulky money is in data analysis. Please, can you give your thoughts on this since you have experience? Beautiful. Now, my background, I used to be a software developer. And also, I used to be a database developer. I build database. And the tool I use is SQL. I use SQL inside out before I moved into Power BI around 2015. About 11 years ago, I came into what? Power BI field. But I already loaded with SQL skill. So leveraging on my programming skill and SQL skill, today I can say, yes, it is really helpful. But I want to tell you as beginner, I want you to start with your Power BI skill. Power BI is a tool. Data analysis is what we are talking about. There are several things you can use to learn data analysis. One of them is Power BI. Another one is Python. Another one is R. Another one, SQL. Another one, Elastic. There are many out there. Most of these other ones needs what we call scripting. You must write code. But we are talking about a low-code platform to quickly get you up and running. Within a space of 1 week, you can complete the curriculum, you can do the professional exam, and you can start making money. Then I will always say, do not stop there. Try to move higher on the ladder. So that is that. So SQL is a tool. You need to learn scripting. It's powerful. You need to learn it. But I will recommend get to solve a problem. Solving problem with SQL, most especially when you start getting to function, store procedure, join statement, views, you might get frustrated. Solve problem and start making money is a good encouragement for you to go on the ladder. Thank you very much. I hope Gift have answered your question. So thank you all.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Hello, sir. Please, can we get the recording after this class?
Okay, Chesca will answer that question for you shortly. So, what is the order in learning data analysis tool? Like I just explained, the order is simple. Start from the simpler one and climb to the more complex one. I will suggest start with Power BI or Excel. They are close to you. Then you can move into SQL, move into Python. But if you start from the coding side, you may never see the end of it if you are not too interested in it. I don't want something that will scare you up. Start with the low code, no code tool. Then you can start going into the coding environment. Thank you very, very much. So I hope I've answered all questions. Can you use only Excel? Of course, you can use Excel for analysis. But most enterprise organizations, they have huge data sets. You cannot use Excel for them. But for small company, medium company, Excel is superb. But when we start talking about enterprise solution, then you need to do beyond Microsoft Excel. Excel is another analytical tool out there. Can you list the professional exam of, like I said, PL 300 is just one exam. Once you do that, in some exam, they are about 3-4. But this one, do that PL 300 exam, and I bet you are already a certified data analyst by Microsoft. And you can leverage on that. I'm keen on making money. Use that money to move on. But if you want to learn everything, time is not on our side. And the tool, they are changing every day. So the professional exam is PL 300. Chesca will talk more about the professional exam, about the training. So please just make sure you come on board, join the trail, and let us see how we can add value to ourselves. Please, sir, do tell us again about the exam. The exam is called PL 300. Chesca will talk more about that. Franca, are you on the call? So what of Excel in data analysis? Excel in data analysis, you must know how to use 4 major things. Power Query in Excel. If you have never heard of Power Query in Excel, go and figure it out. So, because time is not on my side to show you those things. Power Query in Excel, you must know it if you really want to leverage on Excel for data analysis. Number 2, you must know how to use pivot table and pivot charts, and also Power Pivots. Pivot table, pivot chart, and Power Pivots. You must know how to use Power Map in Excel. If you can use those tools I just mentioned to you, please, get your finger crossed. You can use Excel to do wonders. But when it gets to enterprise solution, please, Excel and Power BI, they look alike. There is no much difference there. Leave Excel, move to Power BI. Power BI is for enterprise solution. Start using it. And when that gets to coding, move again to SQL, to Python, to R. It's going to help you a deal. So where can the PL300 exam be taken, sir? So at Chesca Solution, we provide this. So please, we are going to, Franca will talk about that. Don't let me attend to that question since she's going to answer those questions. So great job, Chesca team. Thank you very much, Edith, for that. Thank you, sir. Thank you, all of you, for having me on this call. Franca, over to you.
Wow, thank you very much. Yeah, please, can we give him a round of applause? Yeah, I see emojis. Yeah, everybody loved this. And wow, yeah, it shows that we have great speakers. Yes, that's why, sorry, we're taking more time, but we need this. We need all this information. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because we're creating awareness. I noticed also that LA has answered some of the questions on the chat. Yeah, please, if you have any more questions for LA and Dr. Digi, can you put them on the chat also? Yeah. Without wasting so much time, I'll call on the next speaker. Yes, the next speaker is Mr. Oluwaseyi. Yeah, and he's also an MVP, and he's also a Microsoft certified trainer. Please welcome with me, Mr. Sheyi. Mr. Sheyi, are you on call? A round of applause for him. I saw you on call. Are you still here?
Yes.
Okay. Please take it away. Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you, Chesca, and thank you, everybody. A wonderful presentation by Dr. Ayodeji. And that also springs us into the next presentation, which is more of building on what they just help us to see. That means we have a lot of advantage when we use tools like Power BI to manage our data, to enhance it and make sure we can use it for prediction and the likes. However, we also need to put into consideration, how do we get this into perspective? How do we look at, how do we store it? What are the infrastructure required for this? So the next few minutes, I'm going to take you to a journey now that will emphasize not just on data preparation, data cleaning. However, it's going to take us and extend us to looking at what can secure data, what can give us a leverage to keep our data, what can secure our data, what infrastructure do we need to make this happen? And that takes us to introduction to Microsoft Cloud Computing, which is popularly known as Azure. Now, looking at this technically, there's a lot of things we might bring into perception. One of them is that in the past, people had been used to using certain ways by which we can keep, secure our infrastructure, store our data, and ensure that all what we need to make our IT estate available and efficient within our network is there. So for me, the way I'm going to look at it is to look at it in several angles. First of all, I took note of this simple agenda for us to really brood over as we go through this topic. One, what is cloud computing? They have been able to tell us that we have what we call Power BI. And we have those Power BI infrastructure. We have SQL Server. We have the managed service of it, which actually are kept and managed through a particular provider, which is stored in the cloud. How do we leverage on this advantage? We must first of all define it. What is cloud computing? We then go ahead to look at what and how do we start using it. Then we move ahead to look at the types of cloud computing service we have. And in conclusion, we look at the model, we look at Azure itself, and this is taking us to a small demo, a practical review of the infrastructure and how to get in, what are means and ways by which you can have access. And we're going to look at a small deployment of a mini mature services that run on Azure to see how it looks like and what are the advantage I can get through that. Then finally, we conclude with that. So let's get right into it. And before we get right, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Oluwase Oluwawumiju, and as Franca has said, I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. I'm also a Microsoft MVP, and also I'm part of Microsoft administrative advisory board on Microsoft community all over the world. So
Mr. Shea, are you still here?
Been around for a while. I've been around for over 22 years, where I really build, because my background actually is on infrastructure, where I build my knowledge growth from there, building it across so many Microsoft technology, and also as a practicing trainer, and also as a community awarded experts, I was able to focus on three major aspects, which are all embodied in the infrastructure of cloud. That is AI, Azure, and M365. But my view today just look at the cloud. So I'll take us through a little history when we talk of cloud computing. There's a particular man called J.C. Linder. Now, around 1915 and 1990, he started the move, which is popularly known as a links. He was a visionary person, someone that studied both computing science and psychology. Then, in his time to be able to transform the interaction of computing, building it on the basis of World Wide Web, that is the internet, he was able to pioneer a particular revolution. And that was the concept that he brought in. And what was the concept? The concept was, how do I share computing services that is time-based on the internet? Now, this was his edict. Vernacular said he get edict. He was his edict when he was alive. And that was what he was trying to build over the time. How do I make computing like my regular computer, my laptop? All of you are viewing me through a phone, a device, or sometimes some of you are on your computer PCs. And each of these computers are linked to me, very particular application consumed. How do I make this process? Now, we're enjoying the process. This is where it began, around 1960. He was able to look at a way, and he started doing what we call a batch processing paradigm, where he put some processes online and ensure it's automated. And that was the journey of cloud computing. And having that in mind, this journey extended. Now, the legacy that link line they had, which started in 1962. It went down to look at several things coming up. Like in 1960, innovation was coming up with it. And what was the innovation was to be able to make this particular sharing of computing services and being time-based on a graphical interface. Now, the advantage with Windows R, which Microsoft in getting people, especially when we talk of users and clients or end users, in quotes, in our days of technological usage of terms, was because people were able to see computing in a simpler form. That's why the term window came up. Let's give them another window. Apart from programming, typing, I know some people were asking Deji, how do you make data simplified? How do you democratize it? How do you make sure that people are having access to this? And from Deji's conception, he was able to build it around understanding that when you use what we call a local process, you can able to onboard yourself before you build your capacity and your career stripe on data. Went over in 1963, where we have a project called a Mac Revolution. A Mac Revolution. I'm trying to build something here for us to look at history before we now go to Microsoft, before we start looking at cloud computing. Generally, this was what funded MIT groundbreaking project called Mac. That means making sure that things are, there was an advanced process that was put in place that can allow a real-time sharing of computing services through a mainstream. And today, what we are seeing today is just beyond our imagination of what people thought of in 1960 to 1963. Now, technology now, even the digital workspace is now built on a leverage. And that lever is that people, which is the founding, because technology outside people is zero. So as we have the people, we have a leverage that can keep the balance. And that balance is the technology. And that technology must be able to be vast, powerful, and ensure proper sharing of these resources across board, including data, which you just heard of, AI, that is the boss now, and every other services that is running on cloud computing. So let's just go ahead and look at this story. Now, at this time, we need to pause and ask yourself a question. And the question we need to ask ourselves is, what is cloud computing? Well, it is a question that needs to be asked, and to be very, very candid. Before we can ask that question, we must first of all look at the gap between 1960 and what is happening in the recent time, because every time we have what we call a revolution. An industrial revolution starts way back. We're going to see it now, when trains, steam, and the rest in 70 BC, 80 BC. Every time there's an industrial revolution, there's always a significant change to trade, to business, and to people perception. Now, having that in mind, one major driver to cloud computing is digital transformation. Now, you might ask me, what is digital transformation? Now, to simplify it in a very, very easy and profound way, is conversion of what we know as physical means of communicating with computing. Sometimes we call it a paper documentation, a paper writing, to what we call a computing or a software doing the same thing that what we can do with our paper. Now, digitalization now brings us to that point where we can actually look at the way data is being used. To shock you, everybody now has phones, smartphones, and each of the smartphones are built on several capability. And one of the capability of your smartphone is ability to be able to what? To read your document, to be able to approve document if it's automated. Now, that shows us that we have moved beyond just every time I need to approve a document, I have to drive to the office. There is those data somewhere in the cloud where I can actually see it and use it. Now, I'm going to pause here and I'm going to try and show us something, which is a very short video, because whenever I give my talk, I like to look at the owner of the technology, and the owner of the technology, which obviously is Microsoft, and we cannot take it from them. So let's see what Microsoft is saying. So I'm going to share this particular video. It's a very short video, about a few seconds, minutes. I think it's up to like 1 minute. Then once we have that, I will just quickly I want to share it on Zoom so that we can have it, the video can come up with the sound. So yeah, I've seen it, so I can share it now. I'm used to Microsoft Teams, don't mind me. So I'm going to do it right away, and I'm going to play the video. Please, just tell me if you can hear it.
You know, if you'd have asked 10 different people the same simple question, what is the cloud? There's a good chance you would get 10 different answers. Everyone's heard of it. The majority of people use it, but how do you define it? Many people think of the cloud as a nebulous, invisible place or abstract model. But in reality, the cloud is just a type of computing where individuals and businesses rely on a third party to manage their data and computer processing via the internet. Perhaps a more practical way to think of the cloud is a utility that companies of all sizes are rapidly taking advantage of. Just as gas and electricity providers supply
Mr. Shea, can you increase the volume?
Public cloud providers
is that the highest?
secure,
and the video, we're not seeing it. All we can see is your screen. What is the cloud? Is that what you have on the video?
The video is a topic.
Audio.
And
okay, it's audio.
Is the audio you cannot hear? Okay, I've increased the audio,
yeah,
so I'll play it.
Yeah.
I'll play it again. Sorry for that. Okay. Just confirm if it's better.
Reliable and scalable computing.
Is it better?
Okay, yes, it's better. But okay. Are we
you know,
what I can see on the screen is what is the cloud? Your slides.
Okay. Can other people confirm whether they can see a video playing behind the word what's Microsoft Cloud? Just a thumb up if you can see it. If not, I'll reshare it and go over it again because of time. Okay, you can. So let me reshare it.
Yeah, can you reshare it, please? Thanks.
Yeah, I'll stop the sharing and do it again. Okay. Okay, can you confirm what you can see, please?
Yes, we can see it now.
Okay, sorry for that. So yeah, I'll take it again all over. So I'll put the video on again from the beginning. Okay, I start.
You know, if you'd have asked 10 different people the same simple question, what is the cloud? There's a good chance you would get 10 different answers. Everyone's heard of it. The majority of people use it, but how?
Please, someone, Joven, You said you cannot see the video. Can you see the video now? Is it an old chat?
I can see the video now. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I'll continue.
See the video.
Okay.
Okay.
How do you define it? Many people think of the cloud as a nebulous, invisible place or abstract model. But in reality, the cloud is just a type of computing where individuals and businesses rely on a third party to manage their data and computer processing via the internet. Perhaps a more practical way to think of the cloud is a utility that companies of all sizes are rapidly taking advantage of. Just as gas and electricity providers supply services to businesses and homes, public cloud providers supply secure, reliable and scalable computing from a shared data center that you simply plug into. Traditional on-premises computing is expensive and at times restrictive. You have to pay for the hardware, the software, the licensing, electricity and floor space. Not to mention the time your staff has to spend protecting and maintaining it all. Cloud computing, on the other hand, empowers companies to run faster and cheaper than ever before, simply paying for the resources they consume, when they consume them, and bursting in scale when needed. It's not just pay as you go, it's pay as you grow, and provides companies with the confidence to innovate by creating applications and services on the fly, testing new ideas and features with limited risk and minimal outlay. This is the power of the cloud. It's still servers, storage and networking, but instead of worrying about the maintenance and upkeep, customers can now spend more time innovating and creating new business opportunities. With Azure, Microsoft's cloud solution, customers can relax with the assurance that their valuable assets are protected by a global workforce serving over 140 countries and working tirelessly to ensure consistent and continued availability. What's more, with strict compliance and regulations to adhere to, you can be assured that your information is protected both in transit and at rest, never falling in the hands of unattended recipients and ensuring that you hold the keys to your kingdom. This is what drives customers to the Microsoft public cloud. And along with the advanced security systems built right into the very heart of the platform, you can breathe easy knowing that you're always running the latest security features and not left vulnerable to attack. In essence, the cloud will change the way you work, with solutions being built in hours, not days, and applications operating with greater insight, enhanced security, and global reach. Just as the power of water and steam fueled the first industrial revolution way back in the late 18th century, the cloud is now racing us towards the realization of the fourth. A time when compute, automation, IoT and data isn't just breaking innovation boundaries, but pushing us further than we ever thought possible. The question is, what will you do with it?
So, having gone through the video, now the video actually telling us what Microsoft concept was when they were trying to launch their Azure cloud computing. Now you can hear it from one of their cloud manager, and the emphasis it makes really have built on certain major concepts. One, services on go. Two, ability to have your services and scale it. Ability to spend less. While when you are building your infrastructure, just as I said, I live all my life as an on-prem infrastructure expert. I build infrastructure both for productivity solution like SharePoint, like communication those days called Link, Skype for Business. So I build infrastructure for them. I try to look at the server requirement of the server, fix those requirements into the network, ensure that it's secure. Now, all those time I spend, and to shock you that every time I spend time, after 3 years, I go over it again, because as an IT manager, I must do a refresh because every day infrastructure changes. So in order to avoid this, Microsoft, all the cloud computing. Now, let me put a pause here. Now we are looking at Microsoft cloud computing because we have other cloud computing available over there. We have the cloud computing, we have also the AWS, and we have the Huawei, which is the Chinese cloud computing provider. All of them are terms as public cloud provider. We're going to see the concept very soon. However, three major things come into perspective from what he said. One, cloud computing is part of the driver to digital transformation. Two, data, just as Deji said, is a big link. They said data is the oil of business today. So data combined with the ability to have a very robust infrastructure can give you what? A transformation, which is digital. Finally, we are in an age of intelligent prediction, knowing what's going to happen, running our data to an AI model and ensuring this model can give us prediction. And that's where intelligence is coming. The three coming together brings about the convergence of digital transformation. And just as he said, every time there's a revolution, an industrial revolution in that concept, from steam engine in 1780, electricity in 1870, electronics in 1969, and also digital, which we are still feeling and we are still engaging with AI coming in, there is a draft that comes in between these three major this digital industrial revolution. There are three major concepts that keep building this and making that change. One of them is that the people desire changes. Economics said that, I'm not good in economics, that the need of man is constantly changing, human needs. And because we constantly change, now we change not just because of what we want or we desire. There are several other drivers driving us to this change. One of them is innovation. Now, after each time we see innovation, you can see from this this PowerPoint, you can see what happened in printing press in 1439. Now, printing press is gradually going. Now we have digital press. We have our Reuters, our Punch paper, now going digital. They put it all on probably on a format that we can read through our phones, to our website, etc. Now you can see there's an innovation. And another one is automobile in 1885. When cars started coming in a lot. Now there's a change coming in car system now. We are seeing self-driving car that is coming up because of these three convergence that we are seeing in digital transformation. And finally, internet still runs. And everything we can see from the time that technology has its fitting in 14,000 BC to now that is the AI of today, what we see is that there is a three major concept that is driving it. We all need to begin to see outside the box, look outside the box, begin to change the way we see, because every time our need changes. And as our need changes, we need to innovate it, and that brings progression. And that has been life. So at this point, we can see technology is not just about infrastructure that we concept in terms of cloud computing, but it's about people that drives this, people that leverage on this technology to make it. So there's a constant change that is moving. Human needs, which is me, you, everyone that is hearing me here, that needs to start thinking outside the box to make probably an automation system that can make their boss in their office, instead of driving every weekend to the office, can be at home and run an automation process and approve his document even while he's sitting and having dinner with his wife. We need to start see the progression and that cycle cannot change, because we are in an era that our human indignity has been amplified by the power of the cloud and the power of data and the power of intelligence that is coming from this. Now, frankly, this lady you can see here, this young lady, precisely, she's a farmer, like my grandmother. My grandmother was, she died in 1985 or something. But my grandmother, if I give a quick description of my grandmother we're from a little town in Ondo State, Ondo Town. And my grandmother has farms around the suburban, and most time she walk probably 10 to 15 miles to get to the farm, and she leverage on what you call intuition, experience, what she has learned over time about farming from her fathers, from her cousins, from her grandfathers, and that's the way she was using to do things to make her farm produce. Now, can you imagine this lady's about 30? She's a farmer. Look at her structure. She is well built. She has everything she needs because she's leveraging on the cloud computing, powered into AI, and also using the power of the data. She could understand the temperature that she needs to plant those crops. She could understand the pH level of each of the soil. Now, you can see the divergence and the way ability of human genuity has changed over time by the injection of cloud computing. Now, the world has changed. And for us as experts, we must start asking the question now, why do I need cloud computing? Why do I need to start using this resource? Why do I need to learn about this resource? One, a quick talk about just a divergence now. About Einstein said something some years back before he died, and he said, creativity is intelligence having fun. Well, technology is giving us that on the platter of gold. Now, that shows me that I can define my define cloud computing in one major, just going back to what Lick said in early 60. What she said, what he was trying to achieve is to share computing services that are time-based on the internet. Now, what should cloud now look like? So cloud computing is generally a symbol. Now, if you see the way they draw it, is a symbol of a cloud. However, the cloud in concept does not mean the cloud, the superficial cloud. However, it means that a general node will share computing services and deliver it by a particular company, which is called the host. Now, it might still sound very ambiguous, but let's take a look at it. One, cloud computing means I need to demand for a service, computing service online, and I get it. Now, what are the services we all as maybe you are new to computing, you are new to IT, you are just coming in, but there are some basic things that we need to know, just like our computer. Our computer, it comprises of what we call a storage. It comprises of what we call the operating system. It comprises of accessories. Each of these combination makes computer that we have. Now, telling us now that for us to be able to have these services, we must have a server. And that server must have a storage. And that storage must be intelligent, called a database. And that way, and in a common computer, there's what we call the network, which is the point of communicating with another computer, with another device. So each of these now, bringing all together, the networking, the software, the analytical power, all running on demand on internet, give us a picture of what cloud computing is. So let me just scale it down. One, cloud computing is for me as an IT person to have cost efficiency. That means I pay less for things that I can literally, if I'm doing it on my own, I have to pay more for it. Now, cloud computing means that assets can be gotten globally. Cloud computing means that is a way by which innovation is spread across production of solution, increasing of database provision, etc. So the business is shifting quite all right. But it can still be confusing. Now, let me just bring it down. One, cloud computing majorly is basic on serving ideology. One, central idea is a utility utilization, services that can be shared, services that can be on a legal agreement, an SLA service that you can run with a third party that can give you those services and can assure you that your data cannot be sabotaged. Now, looking at property and character, cloud can be defined in terms of ability to have it small or big. It can be scalable. It's highly available. They can manage it for you. You can have access to it anywhere, any place, any point on any device. The performance must be optimized because they are signing an SLA with you that define your agreement. So what technology do they use to make this happen? They use what we call virtualization because it's expensive. I was an IT manager for decades. And I know for every time I meet my management to do what we call a refresher of my hardware, it's like I'm going to a boxing ring because they're already prepared for me. They call me a call center because every time I come. And the truth is that today we have iPhone 17. Some of us are using iPhone 11. What has happened? There's a shift in terms of the ideology of human needs, which comes to innovation, and innovation has come progression. That means technology provider have changed from iPhone 11, added some other services on iPhone 17, which cannot be taken back. And for me as an IT manager, I must be truthful. My management, I cannot compete with your competitors outside there. Your customer, your contractors, those people that give us projects, they are on this level. We can't be on this level and compete with them and work with them. We must move. And that shows us that simplify what I call cloud computing. Because of my time, and I don't know how many more minutes I have, let me just raise on this. Cloud computing is delivery of computing services through internet. Simple post. Although several things can be gotten from that. That is, it saves you money. I repeated this deliberately in terms of scaling resources. For example, if I'm into shoe industry now, shoe business, or raincoat, for example, that is rain and a coat. And that means my services is highly appreciable when it's rainy season. I can scale up at the July, August time or June, July. While when it comes to the dry season, as a raincoat provider, I can scale down and say, oh boy, I am not getting this infrastructure. Please turn down my hardware to 60%, turn down my processor to 30% because I am not really producing optimally. So it can give you this asset at this point of convenience, scaling it up and scaling it down. However, the initial myth came up when cloud was introduced, several limitations and beliefs that came up. One, security. I can assure you security on the cloud platform has become top notch. They spend billions of naira and dollars and pounds to be able to get into building infrastructure around their services. Coverage has increased. Now we have 2 data centers, which we are going to see practically now in South Africa. We have 2, one in the I think in the west and the north. Then we have, and there's a grapevine that one is coming to Kenya very soon, to the East African side. So connectivity has been very easy now. We can bandwidth, you can even get data of 20 naira, 200 naira now. So it shows us that this limitation has been taken off. But one major one that is still very fearful is organization, data sovereignty, and GDPR is one example. And that took away a lot of weight over time, that providers started building what we call consent form and the likes to be able to guide prospective user that they should give right to them before they can get their data or use their data. So in all, a lot of provider, Microsoft, one concept it does is that if It work with governments, for example, Chinese government and typically German government. Chinese and US are always on loggerhead. So they work with Chinese government that, okay, we don't need to come into China. We are business people. We are Microsoft. Let's work with one of your company that does cloud services. We put our policies on their service. We have an SLA with them and they supply your region. And even in US, because of government secrecy and CIA and co, one of the city that has the largest punch of their government infrastructure and services is Virginia. And Microsoft had to have an agreement with that state that they can build what we call an Azure for them. That means that Azure will be able to have them to exclusively have their own services as a private cloud service, not as a public one. So cloud has bring us into a point that we can even be confident that we can get cloud gold mine from a yielded crop. So historically, cloud has come way back in 1940, but the recent time we can see a lot of things coming up, and some of the things that we can see here is that there are a lot of types of cloud services that we can see in terms of the model. So let's unify it into three major ways. One, there is infrastructure as a service. I'm going to run over it because I know Chesca and Franca will soon put me out of here. Infrastructure as a service is a service that are built for infrastructure. Now, the agreement here and the arrangement here is typically very clear. The first line you can see here, the on-prem environment, which we are all used to. You own the infrastructure, you buy the services, you employ staff, IT staff to manage it for you. That means you are the one running everything, you run the show. However, the infrastructure as a service, there's a matrix of agreement between you and the provider like Microsoft. That means you have a 60-40 agreement because you still want to have a control. You don't want to shift too much from the on-prem. You still want to have your services, have your data, have your application, your operating system, because you have license for it. You want to build it. So what Microsoft give you is a virtual environment or a physical environment where you have your server, your storage, and your network, and they make everything available at any time. And that is infrastructure as a service. Infrastructure as a service. The second model is platform as a service. Now, platform as a service generally differ from infrastructure as a service. Now, the platform as a service, and that is the one that you was emphasizing on when you have Power BI services online or Power BI on your desktop that you can shoot those data and use them. You can see in this matrix, you can have an advantage because you have a 20/80 relationship. Microsoft will be able to guide you and give you everything necessary on this line. You only need to bring your application, your data, inject your data in Power BI and publish it. And people start having access to those analysis that you have. And the last one is software as a service, which is more like if you have ever heard on what we call Microsoft 365, or if you have ever used services like Google Drive, OneDrive, they're all on that services level where everything is managed by the provider. And that takes me to trying to modify it in explanation. One, infrastructure as a service, like renting IT service. Platform as a service is like completing that development and developing and building solution, while software as a service is fully managed by the provider, and the handshake for you is the payment. Now, if you have ever been to Lagos Island, now the different color code you can see here. Now, Lagos Island has a fleet of pier where you buy all this Buka food and the rest. Now it's been modified. We have One Stop Amala now. We have several names now that looks very funkified. But in those days, you walk to all of them are Bukas. And the significance of Buka is that you don't need to do anything. You don't need to know what they are doing in the kitchen, except if you pick to the kitchen. You just need to have your meal, pay for it, and you go. So looking at this color, each of these services can be put in color code. Let's look at real estate, for example. Building a house on your own, getting it fully from the ground up, that means you are in full control. can be likened to an on-prem service. Then renting a particular space, just a space without infrastructure, where you bring your infrastructure, it can be likened to infrastructure service. Platform as a service, like you got a whole building, fully furnished, you're just working with your family. And the last one is the software as a service, when you live in an hotel. The only relationship with an hotel person is the money you pay. You can call the telecom for food, you can call it for water, you can mess up your room, they come and clean it up. All these services are paid for. So you don't want to bother your head about how it's being done. Now, the relationship you have is an SLA that should give me this, and I pay you for those services. So there are different computing model that we can have. Now, in terms of model, we have public cloud, for example, which is what I'm emphasizing over some few minutes now, where Microsoft, Google, and AWS stand, where you share the infrastructure, you pay as you use it, and you don't do more management because they do everything at the back end. Then you have the private one, which is you having the similar infrastructure that your public cloud provider can give you. However, it's extremely exclusive to your company and to your infrastructure. The last one is an hybrid. I don't know if you have taken two mix of ice cream like vanilla and strawberry. It has this stringing sweet smell, and when you taste it, it's blow your mind sometimes. So when you put those together, that means you are bringing the taste of the public access, ability for services to be uptime, services to be available for you. You can scale it up, and you are adding it to your own defined unique application that use over years. You don't want to lose those data, or some data you don't want to take to the cloud. You mix it up, it comes up as an hybrid. Now, over time, a lot of things is coming up now. There's another one that is coming now, which is called multi-cloud services. It's beyond just an hybrid. It's more like we now, I don't know, we live among several of these cloud providers. We don't just sit on one person. We engage AWS, we engage Microsoft Azure, we also Azure GCI, Google, and sometimes we can engage Huawei, which is the Chinese cloud provider. So what you do that, you have a multi-cloud system that can have access to all these cloud offering on a specific service page. So let's look at Azure and just do a quick demo, and I call it a day. Now, Azure itself is more like Microsoft own environment where the cloud services is being sold. For my count, it might have changed, but before I did this, Microsoft is still the second largest public cloud provider outside AWS. It has increased its Azure cloud services over 65 across the world. And it has two peers in terms of it creates data center, two in one. One will be primary, one will be secondary. And obviously, this is just how it looks like. And each of these peer region has what we call a zonal configuration, where you have every data that you have in zone 1 is replicated to zone 2, zone 3. So what means that if I sign an SLA with Microsoft, for example, that I want my data to always be available on a zone, that means every time the copy of my data will be in 3 places, I can have it for a take at all times. So the footprint of Azure is that is in every continent now. 2, it has built a way by which bandwidth can be easily taken out of the bottleneck, because it has ultra low latency now on most of its infrastructure. And it's also built on your local policies now, and it's enhanced what we call high availability. So the major thing here is that because it is virtualization, it makes it very readily available for the infrastructure to be built and to be set up. And you can easily allocate your resources and take it down, and it can also optimize it. So let me just Jesse, I don't know if I still have time. Let me quickly just show you how the Azure cloud environment
Okay,
is.
your time is up, so but we can have just a minute for the demo, yeah?
Okay, so okay, thank you. So this is an example of Azure cloud infrastructure, and I will just take us through a tour. Now, as I mentioned that as a disclaimer that sometimes that change. Now we have 70, I always say 65 plus, 70 plus now. And we have over 400 data center across the world. And we can even see it on the on the graphical augmentative reality, which is more like letting you to see what those infrastructure look like. But why this is still loading, now for you to be able to have access to Azure, you must have what we call subscription. Unlike what they said that it is free for Power BI on desktop, it's not free for Azure, and that is just the shocking news. For you to be able to use Azure, you must have a subscription. Now, the subscription you can have, however, can actually comes free for a certain period of time. For example, if you have a very good credit card, Azure can give you credit of 200 for a month, and you can use this 200 and the free service over 12 months. But you must have putting your credit card there and it verified that your credit card is active. Now, the other one is for students. Sometimes students can have this variety. And one of the things Azure does for students is that once you have a bona fide email, and those email can easily be authenticated when it's being queried on the platform, then the email must be real and strong. So once it's done, then you can have about $100 for a year. So they allow you to use their free services. So in nutshell, what I mean is that before you can have access to Azure, you must have subscription. So you can see this my account here. I log in the first one, you can see because I don't have subscription, it brought me here. Now, this is where two different things is playing here, authentication and authorization. Now, there's a resource on Azure. I can only use free now, but I must put my card and that card must be able to have a $200 for me to use it. However, I've been able to authenticate with any account. That means Microsoft allow you to authenticate into the cloud services. That means you can authenticate whether Gmail or any form. But when it comes to using these resources, it brings you back here and said, oh boy, either you get this free card by putting your credit card that I can charge over time, or you go to the student portfolio and show me that you are a real student and I can have it. So let's go back to that. It's okay now. Now this is the build, like a virtual environment of where Microsoft can see all where their infrastructure are built across the world. My concentration is really Africa, and you can see the legend here is I told you that there's something coming up in Kenya, and you can see there's a knob already in Kenya. There's also something in Lagos. However, it's just a network POP. That is not as what we have in South Africa, where we have a data center, and we have two of them. Now, so what am I saying here is that they have brought it more local so that you can have less latency, and you can see across the world they are still building it fast. Now, this data center is like building a whole town, making a whole town. This is an example of one. This is Japan one. We have it in Shetima, in Tokyo. And you can see is that these are the process and the resource that you have there. And you can see the data centers, the ISO that is built on it, and you can see every other thing that, and when it was open 2024. So you can also dive into it if you want to engage more to see how this, you can view the map, you can view the globe, you can take a tour around it in a virtual environment, and it tells you when you go into their data center how you're going to encounter it. Now, that is just on the physical infrastructure, the physical sense of it. Now, let's go into the Azure itself. Now, as I mentioned, you must have a subscription, and this is an example of Microsoft Azure. Because I have subscription, you can see the difference here is that if you look at what I have here, the earlier part I showed you, it brought me back. I am authenticated, but I'm not authorized. Where this was, I was authenticated and I also was authorized. So I can see the resources, I can run through the resources. The only thing I can do on the free version is to look at free services. And those free services are listed for me to be able to know how far I can go. It's just like they took you to a restaurant, and if you are not careful and they say eat anything, you have to first of all measure the person that is saying eat everything. Because if, for example, you are a greedy person and say eat everything and you start eating, and meanwhile the guy just have 10,000, what will happen? Either they hold you or hold him. So you must measure the person. So the free services also have its own caveat. They tell you how many hours you can use it. You can see here the size you can use on the free duration of those services and resources, the database. I mean, like this one, you can do an SQL or PostgreSQL database, and you can only do for 750 hours. Now, if you calculate it, that means within days, the service, it runs across almost all the tiers of those free services. So, but this, I have a subscription already, is not limiting to this free that can move around and create any resource. So because my time is up, I will stop here. I wanted to create a service on Azure to show us how simplified and easy it means to create a service, and you can actually delete it, stop it, scale it up, and the rest. So I will stop here. And if there's any question for me, please, you can shoot, sir.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Shea. Wow. Yeah, the three speakers have been awesome, 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 awesome. I don't understand. I know we've taken so much of your time, but I see some people have dropped off, and yeah, we still have about 45 people on call. Yeah, this will be recorded. So this is the recordings will be sent to you all. So, and for those that dropped off, maybe they had to leave. Okay, I won't take so much of the time. Yeah, I'll go straight to. Okay, please give him a round of applause. Can we have a round of applause for Mr. Shea? Thank you, Mr. Shea. Yeah. Thank you. We appreciate you. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Yeah. Okay, please let me know if you can see my screen. Yeah, can somebody unmute and let me know if you can see my screen? Please drop your questions for Mr. Shea on the chat. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, you can see.
Okay, okay, all right. Thank you very much. Okay, yeah, like we said, this is creating awareness, you know, to advance your tech career. And the speakers, okay, you have me, Franca Ibizo, the CEO, Chesca Global Solutions, AI strategist. You have Ayo, Mr. Ayo Dechi Folari. He's a data analyst. He's already spoken, and we have Lola Adeyemi, who spoke on cybersecurity. She's a cybersecurity advocate. And Oluwaseyi Oluwamiju, is an Azure architect. And the programs we have, like we have artificial intelligence, which I'm going to anchor. We have data, data analytics, cybersecurity, Azure cloud computing. Yeah, and that's our information. My number is on this, and you could also get me through Getbundi, Chesca Global Solutions. That's details, contact. Yeah, and I'll introduce myself quickly. CEO Chesca Global Solutions. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. That's me, business intelligence expert, and AI strategist, and a Microsoft data analyst associate. Yeah, okay. Okay, so what we are looking at, like I said, we're creating awareness, and we're going to start you with, because some of the questions that came in is, where do you start? Yeah, and what I have on the screen here, for AI fundamentals, you could start with the AI 900, which is the Microsoft certified AI fundamentals, artificial intelligence. Yeah, and we also have the SC 900, that's cybersecurity, which is Microsoft security, compliance, and identity fundamentals. That's on cybersecurity. These are the fundamentals. Yeah, that's where you could start. You get certifications on them. After the training, you come for our training, and we'll give you more information depending on where you want to start. We have the PL 300, yeah, which is the Microsoft certified Power BI data analyst associate. That's on data analytics. And the AZ 900 is the Microsoft Azure fundamentals cloud computing. Can you all hear me? Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, please, if you have any questions, you could drop it on the chat. Yeah. Okay. What is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence is the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think and act like humans. Yeah. Learning. Please, can you mute yourselves if you're not? Could you mute yourself, please? Philippa, you're not muted. Can you mute yourself, please? Thank you. So learning, reasoning, problem solving, perception, and language comprehension are all examples of cognitive abilities. AI, I mean, with now everybody talks about AI, so you need to know more about AI. Yeah. And artificial intelligence is a method of making a computer-controlled robot or software think intelligently like the human mind. AI is accomplished by studying the patterns of the human brain and by analyzing the cognitive process. The outcome of these studies develops intelligent software and systems. Okay, we won't keep you for so long. I'll rush through my slides and so that you can leave. The evolution of IT, a fast-paced journey. IT is transforming every sector at an unprecedented pace. The impacts on healthcare, finance, education, manufacturing, and beyond. Yes, in every area now, yeah, you have tech. And you have the recession effects, which is organization, governments adopting lean models. Well, the growing need to embrace AI, IT to survive and thrive. A lot of people say, they ask if AI would take their jobs. Yes, that's why you need to upskill. You need to upskill. Yeah. So AI would 10 times your productivity. AI would enhance your creativity. AI will make you do more than usual, and you would be more innovative. AI will make you more creative than you have been before. So you need to upskill. Yeah. So why AI and ML matter? ML is machine learning. Yeah. I did mention that artificial intelligence is machine simulating human intelligence. Yeah. And machine learning, you have the algorithms learning and making data. Yeah. AI and ML, you have automation, decision making, and innovation. So the necessity of AI and ML in today's economy. Organizations need AI, ML to enhance productivity and creativity. Yeah, in every area now, every field, you need AI. You need to stay competitive and adapt to market changes also, and sustain growth and ensure long-term relevance. Relevant now, you need to upskill. You know? So why Microsoft is a leader in the digital economy? Microsoft's AI ML tools enable innovation and scalability. A global leader in AI solutions for industries like healthcare, finance, and education, and beyond. Yeah, offers certifications and resources for career development. Yeah, like I mentioned to you, the courses you could start with, you can get the certification of them. We'll train you and we'll mentor you to get certified. And the roles and responsibilities of AI ML specialists. You develop AI models for decision-making and automation, analyze data to uncover insights and drive innovation. Yeah. And you ensure ethical and efficient development of AI systems. Mr. Deji talked a lot about data analysis, and where you get insights. And you have the career opportunities. There's a high demand, these are high demand sectors: technology, healthcare, finance, and education. Yeah. And you have job roles like AI specialists, data scientists, and ML engineer. Like in every area now, you need AI. So that's why you need to upskill, know more about AI. And the benefits, you have competitive salaries, remote jobs, and global relocation opportunities. For all these courses that we mentioned, this certification, once you have the certifications and the upskill, you need to also have hands-on. Yeah, you have better salaries, remote jobs, and so on. And how to start your career in AI with Microsoft. Like I did mention earlier, you enroll in Microsoft certifications, which is the fundamentals is AI 900 actually. Yeah, you could start with that. Then build globally recognized skills in AI and ML. You gain practical experience through projects and case studies. Yeah. So join the AI revolution today. Take the first step towards an exciting AI ML career. Transform your skills and become a future-ready professional. Okay, thank you. I said I'll be short with this presentation so that because we've kept it for so long. Yeah. Do we have questions? Any questions? I'm not on the... Any questions? Any questions on the chat? Okay, I'll stop sharing now. Okay, Thank you. I see some emojis. Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, I don't see any questions on the chat, but please get in touch with us. Yeah, let's know what area you're interested in. If you want to start with taking your certification in AI or cybersecurity or data analysis or Azure cloud computing, yeah, you could get in touch with us. You could speak to a Getbundi representative and let's know what you're interested in. Can we get the recordings? Yeah, yes, you will get the recording. Yeah, it will be sent to you. I already put that on the chat. Yep. Okay, since we've kept it for so long, I'd like to round up here. And it was nice having you all on call. Yeah, we had like about 60 people on call, though about 200 people registered. We're expecting more, but that's fine. The recordings will be dropped on your platform. All right. Judith, do you have anything to say before we round up? Thank you for the emojis. You can see the claps. Thanks a lot. And Salisu says, can we get the record? Yes, you can get the record. It will be sent to you. And Edith says, very impactful training. Well done, Chesca speakers. Thank you very much, Edith. We appreciate you. Yeah, and Simon says, thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you for today's session. It was really insightful. Is there certification for the training? Is there certification for the training? Yes. When you attend the training, the certification course, yeah, you'll be, it costs about 150 for the training. Yeah, for each of them, depending on which one you want. Yeah, and yeah, you get certified. It depends on the one you are interested in. Yeah, you could call for it. And yeah, please let us know the course you are interested in, the course you want a certification on, and we'll take it from there. Yeah. Okay. No, but you could put on the platform, put on the chat. Let's know which course you're interested in. Yeah. You can put it on the chat, then we'll follow up with put on the chat now. Let's know if you're interested in the AI course, the AI certification, or the data analysis certification, or the cybersecurity, okay, or the Azure. Okay, Achebe says data analysis. Osman Ibrahim says data analysis. Wow, is it data analysis? Everybody is interested. Okay, data analysis. Edith says she's interested in AI. Rita says data analysis. Cash says, can you take? Oh, sure, you can take. I have about 7 certifications. I have one on AI. I have data analysis. I have cybersecurity. I have yes, you can have more than, please, as many as you want. The more, the merrier, because we need to keep upskilling. Yeah. Egoma says AI. Shedrack says data analysis. I will go for data analysis. Okay, that's Simon. Egona says cybersecurity. Shehu says AI. Okay, that's great. So please get in touch with us through Getbundi. Let us know. We'll take it from there. Okay. Max says cybersecurity and data analysis. That's very good. Okay, this is very good. Yeah, please. Okay, that's very good. I'm impressed. Yeah, the certification will be Microsoft. Yes, the certification is a Microsoft certification. So it's an internationally recognized certification. Yeah. Okay. would call it a day here. We appreciate you all. Yeah, I know we spent a lot of time. Yes, but it's worth it. Like, I hope you all learned a lot in this class, in this master class, because we're really here to give you a lot of information to create awareness. And I hope we did that. Yeah, been nice having you all on call. Thank you. We appreciate you. Okay, so we'll call it a day here. You all have a nice weekend, and see more of you in the class, in the classes. Yeah, yeah. Let us know. Yeah, let us know. Yeah. Sorry. Any other question? Okay, we'll call it a day here. Yeah. All right. Good night, everyone, and have a lovely weekend. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Bye, everyone. Don't forget to get back to us. Let's know what certification you want to start with. Okay, those that are interested in doing 2 courses, that's fine. That's lovely. Yeah, you could go up to as many as you like, so many certifications. Okay, good night, everyone. See you soon. Hope to hear from you soon.